Hey everyone, welcome to KindQuest Games. My last video, it kind of went off a little bit and reached a lot more people than I thought it would. And it reached a lot of developers who actually went in and gave some tips and some comments. And I want to pull out 5 of those comments that really kind of impacted me and share them with you in case you find yourself in the same spot where you're a newer developer and you're struggling with, I'm sure, hundreds of questions like I am on how can I actually be successful at this. If you missed that video, go ahead and go check it out. You can find it here. Just click on that and check it out. So yeah, thank you all for watching. This community has really just become a part of my journey, and I want to dive right into these comments. I want to talk about what the comments are, what spoke to me, and how that comment has kind of impacted how I move forward in my game development process. So here we go. Here is comment number 1. And this is, I'm going to butcher these names probably, but this is from at Nope Gifts or GFE. I don't know what that means. Anyway, he writes, Steven Zapata's The Beginner Core Delusion is the perfect video to watch after this. Perfectionism is procrastination with extra layers of rationalizing. That's a cool quote. But this is the part that really stuck out to me. I recommend going way, way, way smaller for your first pixel art game. People underestimate how much work animating expands with canvas size. It's one of the reasons why Pico 8 is such a great on-ramp to learning game development and pixel art. So, yeah, I was already kind of tailoring back some of my game development. In fact, this game, The Last Bastion, that I have started to create is the second game that I'm creating, because the first one was just, I felt too much, too big. And so I had already kind of tailored it back. And when I decided to do my own art, I jumped into wanting something that was highly detailed, So I went up to 64 by 64, and man, it was a lot of fun creating some of the assets for that, but it took a lot of time just to create the asset because I'm not a game developer. I'm not an artist who has a lot of practice in that. So this comment really stuck out because it was like, yeah, I do actually need to go smaller, not just in my art, but probably just, simmer down on my game a little bit. This is the first game I'm developing. I shouldn't be taking off more than I can chew at this point, and I need to use it as a learning experience and focus on the things that make a game fun and not get bogged down with complicated systems at this point. And I just need to move forward with that. So let's look at comment number 2 that stuck out to me. Okay, so here we go. Comment 2, it's from at MichaelBert9163. He says, I worked as a video game artist for many years. Art is the most expensive part of just about any game development. I'm of the opinion, find any way possible to get art for your game. Nice visuals help sell a product. So that line stuck out to me. Nice visuals help sell a product. And I agree. If I'm skimming through games and I want to purchase something, it's that piece of art, that cover shot that really grabs my attention at first. If I like that, I'm going to dive in a little bit further and see what the game is all about. Let's continue on. He says, I learned early in art school from a lot of top illustrators that there are no rules to making art. And now this was, I guess, the biggest part of this comment that stuck out to me, because I had been watching videos about how to create palettes, how to choose a palette, that you have to stay within a palette, all of these things about art. And it applied also to, this is how you write code in Godot. And this is how this process works in Godot and all of these different game engines. And I know a lot of that stuff has to happen that way because it's the way it's designed. But for art specifically, there's no rules to making art. And I think after watching some of these training videos and whatnot, they were helpful, but I was applying to myself, this has to become a rule. This has to be how I do this piece of my game. And this just brought a little bit of freedom to me to be creative again. I was already feeling the rules kind of sap away some of my creativity. So thank you, Michael Burt, for kind of injecting some creativity back into my life. He continues, if you look at a lot of the most famous artists in history, a lot used unconventional methods to get their art finished. Not everyone just grabbed a pencil and started drawing. So anything you can do to be inexpensive and get the art done in a timely manner is good. There are no rules. Fantastic comment. So let's roll right into number 3. Okay, this comment is from ZeroPad. He writes, "Hi, I'm a 35-year-old who started building his own game despite having no experience or game dev education whatsoever. You are saying some very good things about taking things in steps in this video. I encourage everyone to do one small thing at a time." And this is the next part that really stood out to me. There's a big difference about the mindset of shaping stone and building a cathedral. But once you've shaped enough stone, you might just be able to build wonders. So beautifully put, to understand that this is indeed a marathon process, the whole game development process. It's a marathon, you know? And I think, like anybody who gets into trying something new, they don't really know what that process is like yet. And they have expectations in their mind of what it could be like. And when I jumped into game development, I knew that it was going to be a challenge. I knew that it was going to be a lengthy process. But I don't think you quite understand how long it's going to be until you've probably been doing it for a couple of years. And maybe even that's too early of a timeline. I don't know. But it helped to refresh me as a developer that I'm just carving a stone at a time, and I don't need to jump in and build my whole game in one night. I can jump in one night, spend a couple hours on a game sprite, or, maybe creating a modular for the game itself, and be okay that I accomplished something. So thank you for that comment. Let's look at the next one. All right. So this comment is short, and I actually really love this comment. So at user Mamira Hero, you see it on screen there, right? He writes, "Maybe you could replace that slop profile pic with real art then." So when I first read this, I was like, oh man, is this guy being a jerk? And then I thought about it and I was like, no. I mean, he clearly sees that I created my profile pic with AI, which I don't think was necessarily a bad thing when I first started doing all this, because I didn't know anything about anything. I didn't know how to do art. I didn't know how to do game development. And so I was leaning heavily on AI to kind of help me through this. But I do think that at some point I began to let AI be the game developer. And this comment made me pause and think for a second. How much am I letting AI control my game development, my art, all that stuff? And it helped me to reset and kind of take my creativity back from AI. So now I have some of my own rules that I've put in place when I work with AI. I'm still going to use AI to help maybe debug some code and whatnot. And it can more easily see some things that maybe I don't. I'm not going to let it create art for me anymore. I think that takes away too much creativity for me. And quite honestly, a lot of AI tools, they can't create art in the way it's needed to be implemented into my game anyway. So I did go in after this and created my own profile picture. I was actually out on a camping trip and we had a really hot day and it was like 103 outside. And I was like, you know what? I got to be inside the camper today anyway. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to create a new profile pic. And I did, inspired by, one of my favorite characters of all time from the Lord of the Rings. So new profile pic up and ready. Thank you, sir, for your comment. Let's look at the last one. All right. Now, this is probably one of my favorite comments. This is from @Supernova Chimera. And he writes, "Your art looks awesome and the game looks like it's coming along nicely." I mean, it doesn't get better than that, right? I love being encouraged as a developer. I love it when people jump in and they see the work that I'm doing and, give me a little bit of an injection of hope that this is really something that people might be interested in more than me. I'm doing it because I have fun and I'm enjoying the process of it all. But this is something that can actually bring joy and fun to other people. And that's really the end goal of what I'm doing this for. I want other people to enjoy this game, to have joy in their life. And this comment just really made my day. Thank you, Supernova Chimera. So I want to talk to you about the biggest takeaway that I had for this. No matter where you're at in your development journey, whether you're starting off fresh or whether you're years in, we're all on this journey together. And these comments have taught me that you don't have to have it all together right away. You don't have to have everything under your belt before you get started. You can get started, and there's enough people out there who are willing to help and assist you along the way. And they want to see you succeed as well. And I would listen to those voices that want you to succeed, that are going to give you some positive feedback or some constructive criticism. And even if it may sting a little bit at first, really think about some of the comments that you get and think to yourself, is there some validity here? We're all on this journey together, like I said. And if you're willing to learn and stay humble, I think you're going to thrive. So I want to thank everyone who commented on the last video. I want to encourage you just to keep sharing your comments and your feedback with me. It's going to help improve the game. And the community is really starting to help build and shape this game, which is such a cool feeling to know that I may be the one behind the computer, doing the work in Godot and drawing the art and whatnot, but I'm starting to see the influence of the community in the game. And that is such a cool thing to see. I really appreciate it. Love you guys. See you on the next one.